Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Francis. I'm part of Group C of the TED Talks. Today, I want to discuss uh, a contemporary issue in education, which also mirrors, as we say, everything that happens in our community also just creeps into the school. So, today's topic for me will be critical race theory. I'd like to share with you how I believe it started even before there was a title, critical race theory. How the title critical race theory is more of a propaganda tool that we use to be divisive in the United States as we continue to use racism as a weapon to gain political power or financial gain, far as capitalism is concerned and our educational system. I go back to 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education, where it was created. Brown versus the Board of Education, everything was passed to eliminate separate but equal. And though it took so many years for schools to integrate, uh, it was needed for the beginning of what we see now as critical race theory and learning about each other. In 1961, the Affirmative Action Act was passed. It erased and it allowed for employees to feel comfortable and not be mistreated by the employers, depending on their race, creed, color, or national origin, which it wasn't created for where you had to have certain people hired. I think that was used as another piece of propaganda. But we look back at people like W.E.B. Du Bois, who for many years spoke on the disparities and how some of the things he spoke about today in our educational system, they still ring in as contemporary issues that he spoke back in the day, that they're still contemporary issues now. They remain relevant. Um, CRT was created in a critical race theory. It was created to expose these issues and expose the statuses that were legal and the things, the practices that were legal in the educational system, and some of the practices that have become tradition as opposed to them being illegal. They always say it's harder to change tradition than it is policy. As we know, there's still some areas in the United States where they have segregated proms, so tradition, hasn't changed the rules. Um, I look at CRT as a way to help change curriculum. I think that curriculum should change according to the kids that we have and who we're servicing. If we're customer service based, at our school specifically, we changed. One of our books in the ELA class is our kids are reading Monster, which is Walter Dean Myers' book about a student of color who kept a excuse me, he kept a journal and he drew pictures of his day in court as he went through this whole trial, and he painted the pictures of what he saw. He also talked about how the book itself is titled Monster, as how he was depicted by some people in the courtroom and how he just felt that way. And he just felt from the beginning that they had it in for him by the way they looked at him, things like that, which our kids go through every day, as opposed to walking in a forest, seeing a fairy, as Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, which our kids cannot relate to. So CRT allows us to think about how we're represented, allows us to change how we're represented, which we paint the picture for people to see. And unfortunately, a lot of times those pictures have been painted very negatively for BIPOC individuals. And when I say BIPOC, I mean Black, Indigenous, people of color. Okay, an example of that, Huck Finn. In the book Huck Finn, the N word was used 219 times. The state of Virginia tried to pass in 1990s where they would change the N word, into the word slave. But now you still think of all black people as slaves, and so it wasn't a good idea. They did pass for them, but when we look at those facts also surrounding a critical race theory, we omit other people. We're excluding other people like Asian Pacific Islanders. We're excluding Korean Americans. We're excluding a lot of people because, as propaganda would have it, it is being used as a black versus white thing. And the people who are missing out the most in that situation are the black males. Black males are depicted as being very aggressive, not able to control themselves. We're underrepresented, but in honors courses, but overrepresented in uh, discipline actions, um, and it goes back more recently. I think it's become a larger thing more recently because it was used as political propaganda in September before the last election for the presidential election. A bill was passed by President Trump that eliminated and banned diversity and race sensitivity training in all government buildings, all government um, activities. Mr. DeSantos then followed with saying critical race theory is teaching kids to hate their country and hate other people. And I question, how does that differ from anything we've been taught this whole time of how the Native Americans were here first and what happened? And we celebrate Thanksgiving knowing it was a massacre. Um, Also, some states have banned any social justice programs. You can't use federal funds for justice programs, social justice programs. Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Utah also followed suit in this case. So, thank you for allowing me to share, and I hope this sparks some discussion. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.